Okay. I have no idea if I'm doing this correctly, as usual. Not even sure how to find out if I'm doing this correctly, honestly. I guess we will find out very soon if I'm doing this correctly. Somehow, there we go. That's the correct button. Yes, there we are. Okay. There, now I can see your guys' chat, only slightly distracting me from my screen. That's perfectly fine. There we are. Going to be building on the realm. Just going to wait and see if anyone pops in. Say hello in chat whenever you get in, of course. I need to actually double check the audio. I forgot. I never seem to do this correctly, so I have to go on my phone, double check that I know what I'm doing. I'm like, yes, I did this correctly. Probably. Maybe. We'll see. Looks like it. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, all good, Mitsu. That's fine. Yeah, if you're at school, definitely education first. It's 9 o'clock at night for me, so we're gonna be building a castle today. So here we go. On this little landscaping I did, um, I have no idea why I built this, honestly. I just wanted to build on the on the on the realm. I was like, you know what? I'll terraform because that's that's a better idea. That's just well, that's a good idea. When you don't know what to build, you just start terraforming. But I will fly around the realm and hopefully not like dox anyone on the realm as we are flying around, waiting for people to get in for a couple minutes, and we'll get to building some of the castle, or at least getting like most of it done. Hopefully, it shouldn't be very big. I could probably get all of it done. Honestly, there's not much to actually do. Um, in the for the castle, yeah, because it's pretty small, not a lot to do. This one, oh, there we go. We're here to one of the pretty builds. Yeah, here's one of them. These were built on Java. They were transferred over as the guy who built him are a PS4 builder. If you build on PS4, um, well, actually, not everyone knows everyone in the building community, but if you do build on PS4, you probably know the guy who built this, which is pretty cool. I'm just on. He's a very good builder, but a little unfortunate at the moment. Won't really discuss why, but that's okay. Of course, this skull here, quite nice. Very good builder. But we'll have to get back to our plot very soon. Don't really have a lot of time. I think I gave everyone pretty ample opportunity to join in on the live stream. Probably should post it somewhere, honestly. If anyone wants to, that's also perfectly, perfectly fine. Maybe I should live stream on Twitch and YouTube. Who knows? I wish this plot world had names, but it does not. If anyone's ever had their world griefed, then you'd probably be very surprised at how this realm works. There are basically everyone is an admin, and everyone just like just to reiterate, let me go to this plot. Everyone is an admin, and I just broke someone's build. You can absolutely do anything on this realm because pretty much every builder is an admin because it isn't a bedrock realm. So just imagine how sketchy that can be. It's sort of funny. You could definitely get something griefed, but that's why it's a private realm only. Let's actually get back to the plot, and that shouldn't be too long. I know the chords of the plot either way. It might take me a second because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the exact coordinates, and it'd be fun to fly there, but especially fly through this build as well. Nice. It's a very fun build. I was here when this was built on Java. I know the guy who built it. I was there like a day before he built it, before he added the vines. But it looks like I'm lost already. I guess we're gonna have to be teleporting to, I guess, reiterate this world as admin. It's sort of wild for a lot of people to think that there's just realms out there with, you know, probably like 100 people that everyone's admin pretty much. Here we are. Yep, there is my build. Oh, okay. I didn't know who built this. No wonder I like this so much. I know who this is now. If anyone knows who it is, that would actually be pretty cool. I wouldn't be surprised. Quite a few of the people on this realm are relatively well known. If you recognize Bear, but that's just builder kind of stuff. There's a lot of builders that are recognizable. If you're in the building community, at least. If you don't build a lot, then it's hard to recognize the names. But you know, the more you build in Minecraft, all of a sudden you start recognizing names, and you find out that like, oh wow, there's a lot of people, but at the same time, you end up meeting a pretty good portion of them after a while. Surprising amount of people. But here we are. Okay. So for this, I'm not entirely sure what I'm wanting to do because I didn't plan this build. That's number one. Okay. Don't do what I just did for this build. Plan out what you're doing because if you don't, it's terrible. That's really number one. Like I'm building something right now. I'm building a map which will be available for you guys, by the way. I have two maps that I'm going to be releasing, and everyone will be able to download relatively soon. And in the upcoming weeks, everyone will be able to download and have fun on those worlds. But if you do not have a plan, then man, it just takes so long. Like for those builds, I had a plan from the beginning because I know how dangerous it is. You know, the second I go to build something, if I don't have an exact plan for what I'm doing, oh goodness, it's terrible. If I don't know, it takes forever. Um, so for this, not knowing is probably the most time-consuming part of the whole process, really. So weird. When you pop out the chat for YouTube, it doesn't tell you how many people are watching. I could have 0 or I could have 100. I have no idea. That's oh well. Hopefully I'm not just talking to air. Hopefully some people are going to be learning something today as I build this interesting, very difficult build. It's only difficult because like I said, it's my fault. It wouldn't be difficult if I actually planned this out. Yeah, I want some room there. In this case, it doesn't matter if I use the gold blocks. I can replace those using a fill command. It's sort of weird knowing what commands I can or cannot use or replicate in using command blocks. Honestly, I might just need to make myself some world edit commands for this realm and just not tell anyone. Just have like a secret world edit stash where I have a bunch of commands for building on this realm. Just not tell anyone. That would be sort of funny. I don't think some people would be very happy about that. If I entered in a competition, I had like a custom world edit system using command blocks. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys think that's cheating? You're on Bedrock and you use command blocks, so no external stuff, just command blocks, and you make like a world edit system, and you compete between like other builders in like a competition, right? But they don't have that, and the reason why is because they don't know how to make it. Like they have access to do that. They have the commands. They have access to everything that you have access to, but they just don't do it because they don't know how. I mean, I don't know. It's sort of hard to tell whether or not that's cheating. Like, as long as it's in your own brain, but at the same time, it's not really fair because, like, yeah, you use your brain to do it, but it seems a little bit cheaty. It's sort of like trying to think like even using external tools. Like, obviously that's too far for building, but like for a building competition, it's hard to tell like how far you should take it on on what for like a building competition, like what's cheating, like for Bedrock, right? Like I said, if you're using commands, like I'll give myself a command and sort of show you guys an example of what I'm talking about with one of these. So for one, right, we know the position is 47 right here. So what I can do is do fill, and I can do at its own position, and then do then I can do right here, then 47, and this, and we can do gold block like that. And if I put this inside of this command here, which I need to do always active, and then I believe it's it. Then I have to exit. That was important. That was very important. Then I put the command in. Now, when I go to use this command, this is a great example of what I'm talking about. So if I let's just do this here, which unfortunately I did this backwards somehow. Did I do 74? What did I do? Anyway, as you saw, it did a thing. So now I need to retry that command. 47. Oh, okay. I typed it in incorrectly. There we go. So we actually need to go back to this. Then we have this one. Then 47. And then that. Hello, Kverse. Nice to see some people are in chat. Nothing much at the moment. Building a castle. But I asked everyone a question earlier. So whether or not something is cheating, right? So one second, let me actually get the command working real quick before I say the rest of it. But in like build competition, I'm on a Bedrock, and I was thinking in my head, I want to ask what you guys think. For build competitions on Bedrock, is it cheating to use command blocks? Like, or is command blocks fair game? Obviously, it depends on the rules of every competition, of course. You can't just say like, "Oh, it's fair game" because some random person on YouTube said it. But I mean in general, because it's sort of weird, right? Because if someone's really good at commands, like this thing right here is a great example, because it's super simple, but a lot of builders just don't know how to do this. So, for me, this is a really simple command, but for like a lot of builders I know, they don't know commands at all. So it's not really fair for a builder to have to try to, in a building competition to like compete with someone who's using this, because that means that they can build, you know, multiple times faster that way. Sort of weird whether or not like it's cheating, because in one way, right, you could say, oh, it's not cheating. You're using your brain. You did it yourself. It's command blocks. It's in the game. It's vanilla. But in another way, it's like, well, you're not building. You're not building it anymore. It's a little bit weird. That's one of the things that go through my head, because I do a lot of stuff, as most people know from my YouTube channel. I don't care if I cheat when I build. Obviously not in competitions. I do not cheat in competitions, but I mean in building, like for YouTube videos and stuff. I've used generators and all sorts of things. I don't care how I get the build done, unless it's for a comp. Yeah, commands are insane. Yeah, even on Bedrock, which some people in the watching the live stream, you may be familiar with Java commands, and those are really important, of course. Like Java commands are pretty insane as well. Um, there's a lot of stuff even that I've met like professional builders that don't know Java commands particularly well, but on Bedrock, like commands are really important. It's pretty insane. I say it's really important because if you don't use commands, you're forced to build it by hand. So it's like if you can learn commands for Bedrock, it saves so much time. It's pretty insane, and a lot of them are simple, like the one I just did. Um, if you want to, I'll put that one in chat actually. If you want to try it out, it's this. There we go. So you guys could try that one out in Bedrock yourself if you want. That will go to 47. So if you're below 47, it will go up. If you're above 47, it will go down. So it goes to 47. So it goes from the location you're at down to 47. So if you change 47 to 0, it'll go to 0. If you go to change it to 10, it'll go to 10. So that one's a particularly useful one, as you can imagine. I use that one a lot. One of my favorites. Like even compared to Java, I even still like it because sometimes I just want to build by hand. For terraforming, oh wow, I really like it for terraforming because there's not really a whole lot you can do to speed up terraforming unless you're like using a lot of world edit. But I still like building by hand. Yeah, yeah, commands like this. they're so simple, but a lot of people don't know them. On like it's weird. I'm not sure how many people in this world would actually know this command. I don't see a bunch of spam in the chat, so I don't think a lot of people are really doing it like in this world. And this world's full of like a lot of really good builders, and a lot of them don't know commands like that, which is sort of bizarre. Some of them do though. I know of a couple of them, but it's so simple. And actually, yeah, let me show you. Let me show you a little bit of why it's so cool. Um, that's the wrong command. Let me delete that one. I'm going to break something if I'm not careful. There we go. That's better. And then let me change what's in the command. Just making a mess with this block. I'll have to break it in a second anyway, though. But it's pretty cool if I let me do this. There we go. Oops. Yeah. Yeah. How? Oh, by the way, how it works? Just to reiterate. Okay, we have a normal command, place it down, and this is important because we have needs redstone. If you set it to always active and you exit, it will execute the command. So if I do set block and do 2 blocks above stone, what you'll see is it's going to execute the command that's in the command block because it's always active. So it will do the command once. After we break it, it doesn't happen anymore. So the command is like deactivated effectively. So now when we type in the command, it means that we can pick block it. So let me actually go to, wait, what's my location? 30. Okay. So then we can go to 30 and actually have it set correctly. Let me have it set to 30. There we go. So now when we place it, it will actually function correctly. But you have to, this is one reason people don't know about it, is you have to pick block it and you have to do it with control middle click. So it's actually mouse only, which is like really obnoxious. I don't really like that. Because obviously, if I'm doing a tutorial video and I'm showing people commands, it's like, oh yeah, how'd you do that? It's like, oh yeah, it's keyboard only, by the way. It's not really it's not great for tutorials to say the least. But here we go. So we have like a terraforming wall, and one reason I love it is because I can do a little bit of a wireframe, just get an idea. There we go, and then I can just start filling it in, right? So now I'm filling in the landscape. And it's relatively easy and pretty quick. And like for Java, it's actually not that much faster on Java. It's a little bit faster. Um, Still not particularly easy. Then we can still for here still do this and terraform as we go and sort of round it off. So it's like a combination of being able to do like world edit like things while still being able to build by hand. Um, which is one reason I like it so much, even compared to like Java stuff. Because on Java, when you do a command, it doesn't automatically terraform it for you. But with this, I mean, I'm able to like fill something in while also being able to terraform it, which is a pretty big, like, pretty not really a big deal, but it's nice. It's like convenient, right? Like this was fast. Like I just terraformed a cliff face, like, and it wasn't difficult. It was really quick. Definitely not bad. I've done quite a few projects like that. And there's some other stuff, especially with the copy, the clone command I've done with that. Let's hope I do this command correctly though, and get rid of all these gold blocks. Might be faster just to break them because I always mess this command up. Yeah, it's just efficiency really. It doesn't like help your building that much. Like it doesn't. But the fact it's faster means that you're able to try more stuff out. So I would say the fact that it's faster alone helps with the build quality because you're less likely to get bored. I know a lot of people that it's sort of a balancing act. If you build too quickly, you get bored. If you build too slowly, you get bored. So depending on how you build, it might be better to build quicker or slower. But I think, yeah, for me, I prefer to build faster. Get the stuff done as quickly as possible. I don't want to wait. I want to get it done. I'm more of that kind of person. There we go. That's temporary. I don't know what I'm doing there. I want like some type of walkway or some type of thing here. A tower, maybe? Don't really know yet. I definitely want. I was wanting something here, but I'm not sure anymore. I might have to move everything. Or I might need like a round thing here as well, maybe. Here we go. But in terms of efficiency, actually, back to what you said a second ago. Yeah, I'm fairly serious about efficiency. That's something I do focus on, probably maybe too much, honestly. That's something I do a lot. Efficiency is a big deal for me. Saves a ton of time and money. Like I'm a professional Minecraft builder. I do build for money. I do that relatively often. If you can do a commission for cheaper, it's like way, way, way cheaper. Hey, Mr. Redstone, welcome to the welcome to the stream. Also, if anyone pops in that like knows me from Xbox, I'm sorry if I don't recognize anyone's name. Um, I have way too many names in my head and I can't tell where I know them from. So I just assume I know all of you, which is a little bit weird. It's like, yes, Mr. Redstone. I feel like I've met you before. I have no idea. Have I? Met a lot of people. I forget. I'll probably. That's the awkward thing. I remember people's builds better than I remember meeting them, which makes it difficult. Okay, good. I have. Okay. I thought I did. I thought I did. I wasn't entirely sure. Oh, I messed up. There we go. Oop, there. Oh, for some reason, I'm getting confused on this diagonal. There we go. I think this is okay. I don't really want to go too far back. Maybe I should move. Oh, I don't have very much room. I can't even move very far back. I mean, that's sort of nice to know. Um. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. For those for the scoreboard well, for any YouTube video that I do, if I don't know if I'm not 100% sure, um, that's pretty much what I say. I knew how to use dummy, but yeah, I didn't know what it was used for because it's just sort of weird. Oh, okay, that's cool too. K-verse. Actually, I had another example of that thing. Yeah, I was recording the execute command tutorial today. I'm doing like a I'm trying to record all the videos in bulk. I have another video that I have recorded. I have two videos recorded. One is actually pretty interesting. I made a game for a game jam. So I tried making a game. Um and like normally when you see videos of people making a game, I did it the stupidest way possible, right? Like most people, they're like, "Oh, I'll just use Unity or Godot or Unreal Engine." I was like, "You know what? I like this game jam." And the game jam is the 4 megabyte game jam. The game has to be less than 4 megabytes in size, basically disqualifying every game engine ever. Though it wasn't game engines were not disqualified. It's just all game engines were too big to use in the game jam. So the game had to be in less than 4 megabytes, and that was the only limitation. But basically, you had to do everything by hand. So I made a game using SDL, and that's it. Using a language that no one uses. I chose an esoteric programming language on top of that. It was absolutely bizarre, but I do think it would be an interesting video because it's like pro Minecraft builder tries making video game. It's not like super interesting, but I think it would be sort of interesting. Okay, what else is there to add? Oh, I think I have an idea. I think the stairs will be here. Even though this is technically like A great and horrible place for stairs, honestly. I am sort of one of those people that thinks about rain. It's weird. Yeah, Node.js, Mr. Eds. Yeah, it makes sense because that's I need to actually learn that a little bit. To be fair, mostly for website development is what I need to do. I need to make my website because of I made some maps recently I'm selling, and I want to make sure that whenever I like do a video, I'm like, hey, this video is sponsored by myself. I want people to be able to check out the maps or and be able to find the most relevant map. I don't just want to say like check out this map and this map be like super old. Um, well, I mean like in a year and a half, because when you make a video, I'm thinking like, oh goodness, it's going to be here forever. I got to be careful. Don't want to tell people about something really cool and then they can't find it. I want to make sure they actually have something relevant when they click on the link. So I'll make sure it's like linked to my website, which right now is I'm not doing. I'm live streaming instead of making my website. Yeah, I think I have an idea for the website. I might just end up using what I did last time, but I'm not entirely sure. What was it? Yeah, Vite and Tailwind CSS is what I did the first time. Was not too bad. Did like it. It was relatively straightforward. Personally, I would just prefer to make a custom generator because making a parser is pretty easy. Well, I've made a couple parsers recently, is why I say that. Parsers are not normally particularly easy. I end up making some weird stuff trying to do Minecraft weirdness. I do a lot of bizarre ideas sometimes for the sort of some of the Minecraft stuff I've done. Like I see so many people complain about math in high school, and I complain about math in high school because I didn't learn enough math. Because like math is so useful for Minecraft building. Like honestly, I've used it a couple times, and it was insanely useful. I know that sounds weird. Like, okay, how is that useful? Like, obviously, yeah, like, okay, if you're generating a mathematical thing, like, okay, yeah, that's useful. But how would it be useful if you're using like world edit, just doing it normally? Well, let me tell you what I did. I was building a stadium, and the stadium had a lot of stairs and like seats. So you have like your stadium, and it's in like a circle, right? So you have like your half circle because it was a baseball stadium, and it's like there's a big half circle right here, and it'd probably be something like this. There we go, something like that. So we'd have this, which actually maybe more like this. There we go. I don't know why I'm picky about this. Just want to make sure it's actually proper, and it's going up at like a slope. The problem is you have these stairs, right? They have to be sort of like this, and they're sort of certain amounts apart, and it's like all these perfect circles. But every circle needs to be 2 blocks bigger from the last one. And you'd think like, oh, just build it, but I had to build like one of these a day. So I ended up using some math to figure out how many blocks it was, and it like generated the stairs for me. It was really nice. It saved me hours. There we go. Reading your message, Mr. Redstone. Just give me a second. Um, oh, very interesting. I'm not entirely sure what you mean, but I think I get the gist of it. Redstone with recreating like oh, okay, yeah, I get it now. It's like recreating the operating system, like what it looks like and the layout and everything. That actually would be a pretty good exercise considering they didn't use HTML and CSS, so they could do any weird jankery they want to. So that would actually be sort of interesting. As you know, they're not just going to pad left, right? They're going to move it by 3 pixels or whatever arbitrary thing they want to move it by, which would make it difficult to replicate. Or at least it should make it difficult to replicate. I mean, if you got lucky and they just didn't do anything jank, then it wouldn't be too bad. Almost guaranteed they did something jank though. I mean, have you seen Microsoft stuff? They probably did something jank. I mean, a lot of people complain about Minecraft, but I mean, if you've seen some jank code, Minecraft doesn't even seem that bad. There's some jank code out there. There's some jank stuff. I watched a video about Donkey Kong 64 recently. Now that's some jank looking. That's a jank game. Or even Zelda. Oh, good. Breath of the Wild even. Of course, that's different from design decisions. Design decisions are completely different. The design decisions on Breath of the Wild are amazing. The code is weird. I mean, it's pretty impressive that those games are that glitchy. But anyway, someone's joining the live stream wondering what the heck I'm doing. Building a castle out of gold and diamond. If anyone is wondering why I'm building a castle out of gold and diamond, that is because it's more obvious, like, to see. Um, with the gold and diamond, it just pops out better, and I can see the edges and everything much better. But no, Mr. Ritz, I have not seen the Animal Crossing bug. I don't. Well, yeah, I don't. I don't pay attention to much stuff, unfortunately. Oh, who's this? We got Snoo Lily. There we go. Building this castle here. And oh yeah, another reason to like gold and diamond for building is it's easier to count. Any block that has these dark edges are easy to count. When you use something like concrete, it's harder to count. Honestly, part of this is habit, but at this point, because if anyone's ever noticed, I never count how many blocks I'm using. So I don't know why I really care, but I do like being able to count it easier either way, even though I don't ever use that feature of the block. Because after a while, you do get used to just not counting. Definitely something wrong with this wall here. Probably gonna build a bridge here, I think. There we go. I think this is... Oh, oh. It's a little bit of an awkward bridge because it's... one side's taller than the other. There we go. Yeah, that's okay. I don't really like how it doesn't go anywhere, but that'll be fine. It's not like it matters. I mean, it sort of does matter. At least I think it matters. It definitely matters. Because I say so. Let's see. Um, so here's the question for anyone who can't see it. How do you feel about Microsoft um, changing the Bedrock command syntax and breaking all of your old command block tutorials? Okay. On one hand, I like efficiency, and I did those tutorials to teach people, and I did not care about views at all on most of the videos. So, from that perspective, it's really obnoxious because it was about learning. And now those videos are now basically useless. So it's not as useful to people anymore. That sucks. And now I get more aggravated comments from people saying that my video doesn't work and etc. and complaining. So from that perspective, okay, I really don't like the syntax change. Now, from a Java perspective, I like that they're more similar now because now I can reuse my knowledge on Java and Bedrock. which saves me time because I do both stuff on both Java and Bedrock. Then, from a commands perspective, here's one that I don't know if everyone knows. We can do execute as MrJaycraft, as MrJaycraft, as MrJaycraft, run set block. This is valid. This is valid. I just executed as MrJaycraft, as MrJaycraft, as MrJaycraft, as MrJaycraft, and that is valid. So from this perspective, this is super nice. So the previous way to do that would have been execute, MrJaycraft or whatever. Execute. Let's just do a basic one, and then pretend like it doesn't work. Then we have to do another execute as MrJaycraft. That would have been the old syntax. So it's also shorter. So this is a better way to do it. It's also better to transition between Java and Bedrock for the most part. And from a YouTube perspective, from like a money making, from a YouTube perspective, this is actually great for money making. Like, if I would have actually made more of those videos and actually cared about, earning money from YouTube more than I have, then this actually would be pretty great. This is like a command block YouTuber's dream because now every command block video no longer is worth watching. So now they can redo all of their videos and duplicate their views a second time. So from that perspective, there's a pro and a con on like both sides. For me, most of the videos that I've done, except for I started a bit more recently where I try to earn, like I actually try to make videos that will earn, like get views on YouTube rather than just doing it because I want to. But the majority of the videos that I've done have been just because I want to and I didn't care what anyone else thought. So from that perspective, for me, for that, you sort of see where I come from. But for most command block YouTubers, it's great because it gives them an opportunity to complain and get views. Then it gives them an opportunity to recreate all their videos and duplicate their views. So from a YouTube perspective, there's that, and then from the content creation perspective, it makes my job easier. That's one of my jobs, by the way, Mr. Redstone. I have worked for YouTubers. Actually, specifically just 2 YouTubers. I've worked for 2 YouTubers for the past, which I recently have taken a hiatus from that job. But for roughly 6 to 7 or 8 months, I did commands and building day in and day out for 8 hours a day, making the YouTube videos for YouTubers, or for specifically 2 YouTubers. So I did their commands on Java. So I had to do a lot of Java commands. And the switch happened while I was doing Java commands. So that is sort of nice. I appreciate it more since I was doing so much Java stuff as well. I know a long answer, but there's a lot to go through. There's quite a few perspectives, and depending on what mood I'm in, I'll fluctuate between them. Don't worry, in about 5 minutes, I'll be really ticked at Microsoft. Don't worry, I'm not gonna be pleased with Microsoft for more than 10 minutes. Oh yeah, now that is really obnoxious for like old worlds. You can actually package up your world so it runs on an older version, I'm pretty sure. But I don't remember. No, it's perfectly fine, Mr. Redson, if your messages are long. It just takes me longer to read. But that's fine. I don't mind long messages. I enjoy I call it arguing, but it's not arguing. I enjoy having like proper conversations where like there's a transfer of information, like we're actually getting to have a conversation. I don't care if the messages are long, as long as they're decent questions. What constitutes as a decent question is up to you, and only I will tell you if it's good or bad. Don't worry, no stress. I'm joking. Now one fix actually for that I was wanting to do for breaking stuff between versions is I was actually wanting to make a generator to generate command block stuff because I with the YouTube stuff that I did for the YouTubers, they would switch versions of Java relatively frequently, and it was really obnoxious because you'd be building on one version, you'd get your ideas set, and then you had to switch to like 1.13, right? I was switching between 1.13 to 1.20, right? In between, well, actually 1.12.2. I was switching between 1.12.2 and the latest version in like a matter of a couple days or in a single day. So it did make it sort of interesting to say the least when you're trying to build and you have to switch all the time. So I was going to make a generator so that I could just, you do the fix one time and it like fixes it in all of your commands. But that only really works for like MC functions or MC structures. But anyway, that was one fix I was going to do, but that's like really a little bit overkill, honestly, to do it that way. And that's not going to work for everyone. So I do think from like a programming perspective, which I know most people don't have that perspective, but this actually validates everyone else. Like, if you're a programmer and you've ever worked on like projects or downloaded people's code, they have versions, or like programming languages have versions. So I'm sort of surprised that Minecraft just breaks things between versions so liberally. Like, it doesn't seem like Mojang slash Microsoft cares if they break stuff between versions, like at all. And that it really aggravates modders and command block people and anyone who's doing anything technical. It aggravates them the most. Um, like in fact, I was going to do a YouTube video on this. I called it um, Minecraft tools or Minecraft mods biggest villain, and I called it that because every building tool that I used to use is practically out of date. There's not very many other tools that I can use because they've gotten out of date because Mojang updated the game and then broke stuff. They just didn't care to like make sure that stuff that people used actually still worked. It's really obnoxious. They are getting better about it, but it's still really obnoxious considering how much history there is. And they only recently got better at it. It's like it is very frustrating to say the least when stuff breaks like that so easily. Um, and they don't seem to try to fix it very often, or even try to help at all. I mean, that's one reason why the versions that stick around the longest are versions that were around for longer. So 1.12.2 was an update that was around for a long time. So for a lot of you guys, you may not know this, but a lot of YouTube videos still are recorded in 1.12. That's a very common thing, and it's because of the mods that exist. Um, oh yeah, Mr. Red Zone. Yeah, exactly. Windows and Microsoft are actually really good at this, which is sort of surprising, considering Microsoft owns Mojang. But yeah, if you guys don't know, like Windows can run like stuff from years ago. Like if you downloaded something 20 years ago, you could still run it on Windows, which is pretty impressive. May not even. Oh yeah, 20 years ago. That's actually a pretty decently long time. The oldest program I've ever seen run was like 50 years ago or 40. Now that's really impressive, but that's beside the point. There we go. I'm gonna have to fix this later. Some bridge, I don't like it. Oops, what did I just do? Oh, that's fine. Okay, there we go. Okay. Had to focus for a second. Figure out what I'm doing for this bridge. I still don't know. I hate it. I'm breaking it. It's gone. It's just it's way too close. It was way too small as well. I'll have to fix it. I definitely want it to be made out of cobblestone. I like bridges made out of cobblestone like that. There we go. I'll fix this later. Or I might just not fix it. Honestly, I might just delete that for right now and try to see if there's something else I could do later while I'm building this thing. For one, I don't like how thick this is anymore. I'm realizing this has to be like a really small build. I haven't built, well, actually I have built small recently, but I've gotten very used to building very large builds. Having to build small is a little bit obnoxious sometimes. Just can't do as much when it's so small. But at the same time, you can't do as much, which makes it easier. So it's still easier than building big, in my opinion. Especially since that's normally the first thing you do. It's like the first thing you learn, so it's not as bad in a lot of cases. There you go. Still might have to fix some stuff. Yeah, like I said at the beginning of this, I had no idea that I was building this. I still actually put this thing here. I don't know why I built this. I still don't know why I built this. It makes it so much harder to build when you have no idea what you're doing. It's like revamping someone else's build. It's really hard. This is why you plan out what you're doing. Because I didn't plan it out, I have no idea what I'm building. Just look real quick. Okay, fair. So, what am I doing here? I do have a couple ideas for back here, actually. Just because I can't add a build here. Normally, what I would do is add what is called a bailey, and a bailey is an enclosed courtyard for a castle. But instead, what I can do is add just another building on the back of this, like right here. And the idea that I'm playing around with is maybe making it, which I need to go one more bigger, is having this go all the way up, which this is perfect for this use case. So we'll do this. There we go. Just like that, and we will do the wall here. There we go. So, oh wait, was this even the wrong one? Is there a mess down here? There's a mess down there. Oh well, doesn't matter. I'll have to, I'm getting rid of this command block. I just made a mess. I'll have to fix that later. So for this here, we're gonna, which actually I'll probably just cover it up. The blocks underneath the map. I need to make the sides of the map anyway. We're gonna have a small tower here. The largest tower in a castle is traditionally, I believe, called the donjon. Donjon. It is also known as the keep as well. And the keep can also be a castle in and of itself. Castles are a fortified location for a particular individual. Technically, you don't have to be royalty, I'm pretty sure, to live in a castle, as long as it is a fortified location for one particular person or family. A fortress is for multiple people, like an army. An army may or may not be in a castle. It depends on why it was built, is whether or not it is a castle versus a fortress. But castles, fortresses were normally built, like I said, for an army. And if they're built for an army, they were meant to be big. So they're typically designed better than castles. Castles, whenever they were designed for a single person. So they were normally a single building for a single person or a single family. So it's like normally they look like a square. And they sometimes can be built on top of a dirt mound, and then later on can expand and turn into a larger and larger castle. And sometimes they'll loop back in on themselves and create a bailey. So that's when you have like a castle that extends around like that and connects to this other side. The bailey would be this grassy area here. That's what that would be called. And Anyway, it's pretty interesting. So it's called a Motte and Bailey Castle. Then on the outskirts of the we have there'd be like a circle of a wooden wall. Um, Also, slight fix. I made a slight mistake. Most people would make the assumption that the first castle would probably be made out of stone. Not all castles are made out of stone. The only castles that survived this many years are made out of stone, but the majority of all castles built were made out of wood. But they were burnt down because they're made of wood. Pretty obviously. But anyway, there's your interesting history facts for the day. You're welcome. Things I learned while building in Minecraft. Learning about castles and what castles are made of. Hello, Sikiru. Nice to see there's some more people. Hope you're having a great, wonderful, sublime day. Just building a castle at the moment. While I was explaining the anatomy of castles, because I get a little I go a little overboard when I talk about castles. Because there's a whole lot of interesting stuff to talk about. So many things. But I won't repeat for the sake of the people that had to listen to me talk about castles just a moment ago. Um, as I will talk about castles a lot. Thank you, Sekiro. It's a pretty decent castle so far. I like it. I had no idea what I was building here, so I'm just happy if it turns out good at all. Honestly, especially on this world, considering all the people that are on this world, it's definitely nerve-wracking. Especially like the first time I'm on this world building anything, I'm like building something I had no idea what I was doing. So let's actually fly around. Let's check out some of the other builds. You guys will really enjoy it. I think there's some. I don't know how many people are here, but there's some crazy builds here. I'm actually sitting next to one that's pretty decent. Let's go to one that's a little bit more complete. I mean, this one's already pretty cool over here, but like the one we're flying over. But we're gonna go to a better one. There's some crazy plots here. Oh, we're in the modern section. We could check this out, I guess. I believe this has interior. It's pretty nice. This has got a bunch of cars in here as well. But this plot world's full of a bunch of crazy good builders. So definitely a little bit nerve-wracking when you go to build something. You're like, oh, I'll just terraform and figure it out later and have no plan. It's definitely a little nerve-wracking. Now here's one that's sort of interesting, which is this. I recognize it, I just don't know it from. Um, Wait, okay, here we go. Um, Sort of difficult to answer your question, Mr. Redstone. Um, oh, yes. So I'm not in full screen mode. I'm only recording, I'm only live streaming the inside of Minecraft. So I do have a little Windows icon at the bottom left. But if I was streaming full screen, you still wouldn't be able to tell because I use a lot of developer features on Windows. Oh, thank you, Sekiro. Yeah, definitely check out later. Some cool stuff that I think you'll probably like. But let's see, where is one of these other builds that we're looking for? What I would recommend, if Sekiro you're still here, let me actually show you. If you want to see some cool builds, there's definitely some crazy ones. Let me actually just find a spot. Actually, this one's pretty cool. Also, I was here when this one was built. This one was built on Xbox One Edition. I believe for a server. But this one's pretty cool. I like the environment. It's pretty nice. Let's get back to where were we? Where's an actual decent build? Where's a decent build when I want to find it? Honestly, here's a good one. This guy is really good. This was all built by hand, by the way. You can see his wireframing down here. This was says his name on the side of the building. I mean, if you knew the guy who built this, you'd probably recognize the build, because he's one of the very few people who builds this way. Not a lot of people build this way because it's obnoxious. I enjoy building this way myself. I just don't get the opportunity to do it very often because it's extremely time consuming because you're almost forced to build everything by hand. So if you built this on Java, you wouldn't be that much better off than if you're building it on Bedrock. Um, because if you built this on Java, yeah, you'd get basically all of this. Like you'd be able to get the shape of everything. But on Java, you'd still have to place every single block, every visible block by hand. So even on Java, there's almost no way to build with this amount of precision. And there's already a bunch of stairs and slabs. So yeah, there are some build types that just you're not like Java's not going to help you. This is one that it's like Java does help you, to be fair, but just not nearly as much as other build types because everything is not only diagonal, it's completely off axis in so many ways. Um, Building it by hand is almost just as fast as building it normally. So yeah, this guy is very, very good. I learned how to terraform filling in one of his landscapes for Raimi. Yep, that's his name. Which is sort of weird just seeing a random plot and telling that story. But yeah, I did. He was building a giant mountain for a buddy of mine, and I was helping to fill it in. And he was quite picky, so I had to keep up with his perfect curves while he was building the terraforming, which forced me to learn how to build perfect curves. So that's one reason I know how to build curves really well, is because I built on that guy's world. But let's get back to building now that we've seen some cool builds and build this castle. Or at least figure out what the heck I'm doing with this castle. It's very obnoxious. Definitely should have planned, like I said earlier. Um, I think I'm ready to change it to stone brick. There's not much, like too much more that I can really do for this build to really make it like that much better. Unfortunately, I will just have to settle for okay. And I'll have to build something actually nice on here at some point, just not now. Unfortunately, I do not have the time to actually build something nice on this world right now. I'll have to do that later. There we go. Oops. For this section here, I'm saying oops because it's sort of a weird section, and I feel very picky because this right here is a slightly awkward size. So what I find is I do like sub-block builds. No, Mr. Ritz. I prefer having someone to talk to. Imagine sitting here talking to absolutely no one and pretending like you're talking to someone. Having questions makes it a lot easier, to say the least. I mean, I talk to myself a lot anyway, but having questions does make it easier to not say absolute nonsense for a good hour. And I wasn't planning on saving, like, actually being too efficient today, as I just need to get something on the YouTube channel. I haven't posted anything in several months, so need to do something and get some stuff going, some ideas rolling, figured out. Here we go. Okay. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm definitely not going to be satisfied with this build. Oh, goodness. I might end up just deleting the entire build if I don't end up liking it. After a while, when you build, like, enough, you just don't care about your builds, because, like, this build, like, okay, yeah, I could build it in a couple days. It doesn't really matter to me anymore. Like previously, when I would build something, even if it was relatively small, I felt like I worked really hard on it, so I would want to keep it. But now, after multiple years of building very large, very impressive things, it's like if it isn't impressive, it's not like this, or if it isn't good or my best work, it's like whatever. Which is not like like a great idea. Um, but it's whatever. Yeah. Yeah, being efficient, never heard of it. Me neither. I don't know what efficiency is. I would never be efficient. Oh, I hate saying that. I love being efficient. Efficiency is so much fun. I will absolutely spend multiple days trying to figure out how to do something 1 minute faster. Most people will call that procrastination, but I would call that a pro right there. I would just be a pro at procrastination. It's wonderful. Okay, that's an over-exaggeration. I don't normally procrastinate, but in a lot of ways it feels like it's procrastinating when you just spend that long doing something really dumb because it's a little bit faster and you have to figure it out. Do it the fast way so that later you know how to do it. If I always did it the way I knew how, then I would never know how to do it the fast way. I guess that's how you would say that. I don't really know how you would say that without sounding crazy. You do it the slow way, which will be faster later. You do it the slow way now, so you can be faster later. That's basically what it feels like. So like learning World Machine is one of those things, or learning Blender. It's like a huge time sink. But if you don't do it, it's like if you don't learn Blender or don't learn World Machine, you feel so much slower. It feels better to learn it after a year of learning it. Otherwise, it's terrible. Here we go. Wonder what happened here. So weird. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much life in a nutshell. Do something slow so you can do it fast later. That's called edumacation. Been edumacated. Do your times tables now so you can do math fast later. Oops. Where am I putting the door for this? I guess here. Oh well. I'm not sure where I'm going to put the door exactly just yet, but I guess I'll figure it out later. There we go. Okay, a stone brick. Replace gold. Okay, yeah, we're gonna do it for like this for right now. I might change it to some deep slate as well. I think I do know a fix for this. It's just add more detail is basically I think my fix for this thing looking sort of bad. Um, so one fix I would have for this looking bad is I use a technique that I know about that helps add detail to castle-like stuff, which I did recently for some things. So one, we're gonna add a small balcony here. The more roofs a build has, the better, right? If it has more than 15 roofs, it's perfect. Then we get a cauldron. Actually, a lot of you guys will probably like this. I forget this is not common knowledge. This weird building technique. I mean, considering what I'm collecting, it's probably looks pretty bizarre so far. But we do this, which we actually need everything to line up correctly. Which now that's huge. I guess I'll be okay. So just got to figure out how. Yes, there we go. That's okay. This will have to do. I use these hoppers and I place them on top of the walls. Place a block on top of these. Normally it's a slightly different textured block though, which I'll do. I would do something like polished deep slate, which works pretty decently. I accidentally broke a block. That's okay. I'll place that. Then for here, we place this cauldron. And what this does is it creates a curve or an archway underneath the blocks here. And it looks pretty good, and it works pretty well for a walkway. Another thing I could do it for is like a window. Just depends on what I'm exactly building. Now, I think we'll try doing a red roof, maybe. This is going to look way too similar to my previous castle I built recently, but honestly, no one knows I built that castle recently, so not like anyone's going to know. Probably. I mean, I did just say it on YouTube. No one's going to know, it's fine. Of course, oh wait, I just realized most people don't build different things every time. Never mind. It's fine. I have a weird habit of every single time I build something, it's basically different than anything else I've ever built. Almost never build the same thing twice. Except for castles. I do like castles. That's probably one of the only things. And modern, I do build modern more than once. Yeah, this is a really funny trick. Looks really good too. You can do basically the exact same thing with lecterns as well. Now, there's probably a build on this server that does this trick, as I know the guy who showed me this is on this server. Let me show you guys this trick as well. Be very careful with this though, and I don't. Oh goodness gracious, that was not on purpose, by the way. I just grabbed a beehive and I said, "Be very careful." Do you get it? Huh? 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 Terrible jokes, terrible puns. You're welcome. So what we can do is get all of these oak-based blocks here, including we can even get like oak signs or anything is oak, pretty much. It doesn't really matter. But we can go from what I'm going to do, okay? And this is going to seem impossible at first, but let's say I have an oak block. Let me actually get oak planks. If I get oak planks right here, if I do this, what if I had a build and I wanted to transition from pure yellow, right, to oak, or from oak to pure yellow? How would I do that? And for most people, it would be like, oh, I don't know. How would you? I mean, it's yellow. This is oak. They're pretty similar, but they're very far apart. How do you transition smoothly between the two? Right? Okay. I'm giving you guys a moment to figure it out. Think about it. What is it bamboo? Is it something else? No. Whoever this guy thought to himself, bee nest. There we go. It works stupidly well, and it is quite comical to say the least. And it does work surprisingly well, especially when you like use other blocks to help in the transition, um, including stuff like this beehive because it looks like screws or other stuff. So you can build like a wall. Um, might need a 4. And number 1 we could do. Now we have like a terrible window. Let me actually see. I'm making this part up on the spot. I don't know why. I thought that was a good idea. But right, we can get that, and then we have this. Then we have some of this, and we can get some slabs. Like this. And there we go. And we could have our yellow roof. So now like really transitions from the bottom to the top quite nicely. Of course, this bottom part's sort of ugly, but That's beside the point. These can be used for just about anything from like a window, right? You can absolutely use it for a window. Normally, in this situation, you use it for something like this here. Something like this here. And see, those are like tiny pillars, right, underneath the roof. So we could have this here. Oops, I broke that. Then we could, if we want to put back the beehive, of course, we could just put it here. So now this is the transition between the roof and the oak. Obviously not as smooth, and there's like a lot of stuff you could do with this. I'm not super familiar with it, as it's not something I've used like a ton. I've wanted to, as it creates some crazy looking builds and a lot of cool stuff that you can do, because there's a lot of oak blocks that are available, and especially with the new bamboo, right? The bamboo does help with this, right? Because it is way more yellow than oak, and there's a lot that you can do with it. Very, very cool. Now, I will say it's a little dangerous if you make a adventure map with it because bees will start collecting in the beehives, and I've seen that in some marketplace maps. It's really funny. I've seen it in 2 marketplace maps, beehives. Now, actually, one of the marketplace maps I was fixing, so I actually fixed that one. Um, but the other one was after it was published, and they forgot. And that was someone I know who built the map and just thought he was being clever with his beehives and completely lagged the entire game. He made the entire map almost unplayable because he put beehives in a boat. So I wouldn't recommend doing anything too clever if you're wanting to make a adventure map. You have to be careful because you could absolutely lag someone's game out very easily if you don't know what you're doing. Thank you, Untoasted Breadcrumbs, and welcome to the live stream. Yeah, we're building a castle. Not done with it yet, of course. And I'm still not entirely sure what I'm doing, but that's okay. Just figuring out the design of what I'm doing. Still not sure if I'm going to keep this red thing. Because this looks nice, but it's sort of awkward. As of right now, hopefully I'll be able to finish this in the next, or at least get most of the way done in the next 20-ish minutes. And then hopefully after that, I'll plan the rest of what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, which will be recording more YouTube videos and then editing a ton of YouTube videos. I just want to I want to record like, I don't know, 10 YouTube videos. I don't know. I don't know how many videos I'm going to record, but as many as I can. Because it's really difficult to do YouTube videos. At least the videos that I like to do. Very time consuming. There we go. Ooh, I think what I want to do is some trapdoor shenanigans. I do like trapdoors, but they can be a little bit awkward sometimes because of don't always have the right color that you want. I mean, I like this. It's just it's way too dark for the color palette that I was wanting to go for. But at the same time, it looks good. I recently built this color palette, which is the awkward part. Let me actually see if I can get it up on screen. I did this color palette recently. I don't even know where I put it. Well, I know where I put the image. I just don't know how to get it on screen, so that might be a terrible idea. Can I just drag and drop? Does that work? I think that worked. Do you guys see that? Did that actually function? Oh, it did. Wow. Guys, I'm a pro at this. I figured it out. Why is this not working? There we go. I'm gonna check the stream right now and make sure I'm actually doing this correctly. But yeah, this is the build I made recently. It's very similar to what I'm doing here, like with the red roof and the crimson and stuff. And it works really well because you can just do so many details way easier with these with this block palette. because with these small block palettes, you either have to get pretty creative. Yeah, I made that untoasted breadcrumbs. Made it for a server a couple months ago. Yeah. Um, and the the color palette is the same thing as this. And it's super. This is a super convenient color palette because of these hoppers and the cauldron. It's just so convenient. Other like super convenient color palette is oak, like what me and Mr. Redstone were talking about earlier. Oak is super convenient as well. It's quite powerful of a color palette because oak is like a very common block. So not only is it common, right? Like you always have it in survival mode, but it's also just it looks really good with a lot of other stuff. So it's nice. Thank you, Untoasted Breadcrumbs, for the compliment. um, oh yeah, TNT EV Cat. You can see the whole castle. This is it so far. Um, I've I built the terraform completely randomly off the cuff, and I had no idea what to build on it. So I was like, I know, I'll just build a castle. You know, castles are fun. I'll build one of those. I'll probably build like a little fishing hut down here as well at some point. Um, yeah, I'll probably build a fishing hut. What I need to do is get my second account on here so you guys can have a second view. It helps a lot when it's like that. I don't know how anyone else would pronounce it. I mean, yeah, it's just TNT Eevee Cat. I don't know how else you would pronounce that, but I guess it makes sense. How it could be sort of confusing. It could be TN is do they pronounce it TV? TV cat? That'd be sort of funny if they do. That'd be quite bad. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So it's TNT Eve or Tneve? That would be really messed up. That's even more messed up than me trying to mess it up. That's pretty funny. I've seen some pretty butchered names, but of course some people have like crazy names on purpose, but yours is definitely not crazy on purpose. Oh, okay. TNT cat TV. Okay. That's funny. There you go. I'm going to replace all these blocks and like redo the entire terraform because all the blocks now are different than what I thought they were going to be. If I continue with this color palette, I'm going to have to redo it. Yeah, I'm probably have to redo part of this. Definitely not finishing today then. Yeah, I was wanting to finish today, but there's no way I'm finishing today. This is a private realm. So there's over 100 people on this realm. I just broke someone else's. Oh, broke someone else's build. Um, I do have a Discord server, Untoasted Breadcrumbs. I'll have to post a link in a minute after I answer TNT EV Cat's question. But yeah, this server is. Just let me teleport to the. There's a competition going on. Let's check out the competition plots so you can sort of see it, check it out. It's pretty cool. But I know the people who run this little. It's a realm, so it's not even a server as well, and it's chocked full of like some very good builders, and it's on private partially because well, I mean, it is private because it's a realm, number one, and it's private because like I have permission to go anywhere and break anything because in order to use commands on Bedrock, you have to use you have to have admin. So it's like extremely sketchy because anything I can break because I have admin. So it's like a little bit sketchy. Oh, let's see who's in here. Mango, I think. This is pretty cool. Oh, it's a tennis court, I believe. What if he has anything else going on? But yeah, TNT Eevee Cat, you do have a Bedrock as well. If you own Java, you get Bedrock for free. That is something that has been around for the past 8 years or so. That's how I got Bedrock. I didn't pay for Bedrock, because they had it. They give it to you for free if you have Java. So you do also have Bedrock TNT Cat. I'm just gonna call you TNT or something. I don't know. A little bit. Pronouncing people's whole names just seems so excessive. But yeah, let's actually. It's so hard to find anything on this server because it's not a server; it's a realm. So, if I go to teleport anywhere, I don't know where anything's at. So it's quite difficult to like find where I'm going. The fastest way around is an elytra and a rocket. Um, Still better than building on Xbox. Goodness gracious. Yeah, probably. Well, you already knew the name of the stadium off the bat. Goodness gracious. Let's actually see if I can find my favorite one real quick. Um, there's a really cool build, which actually I do like this one, only because of this. Well, number one, I like that. That's pretty. And this, for some reason, this caught my eye. I like this fire escape. It's the small things, that catches your eyes, and you're like, ooh, pretty. Let's see, there's a diagonal one that's quite cool, and I don't remember who was building it, unfortunately. Um, I mean, this is a pretty cool road. I like this road. I was thinking about roads recently because I saw someone online post a picture of their road, and I really like these diagonal roads. Number one, it looks like there's a car chase right here, some police officers. Um, but where's the actual rotated? Oh, there it is. This is the one I like this road. This is a very pretty road. I really like all of its diagonal. I like diagonals. And it's not just diagonal, it's on a 2. Um yes, untoasted breadcrumbs. They are very complicated rotated stuff. This isn't even just like normally you'd have a diagonal and it would be directly diagonal. This isn't even directly. This is actually on a 2. So it's 2 forward and then 1 back. Which actually this one's actually even worse. It looks like, unless they messed up. But it looks like it's on some very crazy off angles, which is not easy to do well. I've done it on quite a few occasions, actually. I really like these crazy diagonals. It's something I do a lot. Um, and I've done some other ones which are quite wild. Um, Actually, there is math untoasted breadcrumbs that does affect it, and it's quite wild because the blocks will disappear on you. I actually have a great example of that, which I'll show in a moment. Um, let's actually teleport back to my plot, and I'm gonna see if I can um, show you guys the example. Wait, did I just teleport to the? Yeah, I did teleport to the wrong spot. There's some other builds on the server that are really cool that I'd like to show you guys, but I don't know if I'll be able to find them immediately. Um, there we go. Now we're here. There it is. There we go. So the math isn't like actually complicated, but it's sort of weird. Like when you first do it, it's like it's counterintuitive because you can have like a cube, right? That's like this. Oops, like this. Right? So you have your cube or a rectangle like this, and you build it up. And already this is sort of confusing because the cube. Actually, this will spoil it for later, but I'm just going to tell. Well, actually, I don't know if it'll spoil it. I'll just say it. So if I build one side, to make it a cube, I'll have to make it taller than it is wide. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks wide, but it's going to be probably 6 blocks tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 blocks tall. Exactly. I do have parts of it memorized for that. And actually, yes, I do have a tip for that TNT EV. I'll finish this little rant that I'm going on quickly, and then I'll actually have a really good one. And it's actually related to this, weirdly enough, the rotation thing. Because I learned a lesson a while back while doing some crazy rotated stuff. When I posted a picture of one of them online, I tried something out, and it really taught me a lesson. But for this cube here, if I was building a cube that was rotated, okay, it's perfect. I need to actually do a video on that. That's actually perfect. There we go. I won't do that. I'm going to write down that as something I need to do. How to start building YT and how to start building. I do have a building video that's so good, I haven't been able to beat it in this entire time, which is a little bit obnoxious. Every time I think of like making a building tutorial, it's just like it's pointless. I did the video. Like if you watch that one video, technically you never need another video like it again. It's one of those kinds of videos, but it's technically doesn't help you with anything specific. It tells you what you could do on your own. But anyway, I'll post a link to that one in a second as well. But for this here, imagine you have a cube that's going this way, right? So we have this cube that's like rotated on its side. So this is the edge of the cube. Now, most people, when they build this, they do this, and this is incorrect. And it doesn't sound like it would be incorrect because it's like, oh, just do it 90 degrees, and you'd think it'd be symmetrical. But already, with this, it's skipping blocks, and it's doing something quite bizarre. The correct solution is this, and it seems like it's weird to build a cube this way, because this side here is different than this side. They look different. But here's the trick. Here's the trick that's so weird. We are skipping blocks. If I place these blocks here, all of a sudden, now they're the same. So what I mean, especially if I do it on the top side as well, now they're the same angle, or 90 degrees from each other. Because this one's over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1. For this one, it looked like it was over 1, up 2. In reality, it's over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1. And how is pretty simple, actually. Now, it is high school math. It is high school math, but it's obvious high school math. So this right here is a triangle, and I know it's going to sound weird for right now, but it's the Pythagorean theorem. Now, most people, when you say that, they're like, oh my goodness, it's math. I can't do it. Don't worry. We're only using the most basic part of it. So this side here is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks long. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks long. So they're both 6 blocks long. This one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not 6 blocks long. It's longer on the diagonal. The diagonal of a block is always longer, or that diagonal of a triangle is always longer than the straight sides. Or in this case, this would be called the hypotenuse. It's just the longest side. This is the longest side. So this is actually like, let me see, TP. If I teleport 7 blocks in front of me, I'm not even off the edge. We just teleport 7 blocks forward. 7 blocks forward. It's like, let's see, is it 9 blocks long? It's 9 blocks long. Technoblade used the Pythagorean theorem to beat Dream. That's hilarious if that's true. But this here is 9 blocks long because it's on the diagonal. And the reason that's important is on a block, you have 2 of these. So we have this side here. This is the square root of 2. That's the distance from this edge to this edge. From this edge is the square root of 3. So this, from this bottom corner to this top corner, is way longer. So when you go to build this and you go from this bottom corner to this top corner, you actually skip this block. It skips that block. So when you do it, it ends up skipping every other block because the distance is so long. So when you're going in a straight line, it skips the block. But when you go from, that like this corner to this corner, it does go through this block slightly. So when you follow the line, it's going in between the blocks and it's hitting these here. So you're effectively skipping the block. So yeah, with like when you're rotating stuff, it can get really bizarre because you can start missing blocks. Like blocks will just disappear on you. And you place the block and you realize it's wrong and it doesn't fit. Or you go to place blocks and you realize you have way too much space. This looks like there's too much stuff. There's extra blocks. Don't worry, TNTV. This will make a lot more sense in literally just a few years. Well, just literally a year. You're probably going to learn this in, actually, probably ninth grade. Probably learn this in ninth grade. But it's relatively simple. Like, obviously, there's a long side of a triangle, or there's a long side, and like this distance here between these 2 points is longer. So it's relatively simple. Using it to do like math that's when it gets complicated. It gets like really complicated. But if you're not familiar with it, it is sort of confusing because like how can the blocks just be disappearing on you? It is sort of weird. But yeah, it's bizarre. But hopefully, when you actually do get to using that math, it'll help. It will make more sense to you. That would be pretty funny, honestly. You tell your teacher, "Oh, I heard about this from a Minecraft YouTuber." That would be pretty funny. I learned about it when blocks disappear in Minecraft. That'd be a funny thing to talk about. But back to your question, TNT Evie. You asked about starting like a Minecraft YouTube channel. Now, I actually have a great example of that. And goodness gracious, this is making a mess. I have a bunch of stuff on my screen. How did I get another one of these? Oh, that's inside the... Okay. Okay, it looks fine. Looks fine. Me go to... Not my YouTube, that's for sure. That's sketchy. There we go. And then... I need this back. Thank you. There we go. Yeah, congrats, Team TV, on the 58 subs. The first 100 is the hardest, of course. But this is a great example. This is not even just for YouTube. This is for literally anything and everything related to doing stuff online. This is one of the most insane things I discovered. And I'm not the only one. I saw recently, Veritasium did a video almost identical to what I'm about to say, but he learned it in a completely different way. It's one of those things that people can discover separately from each other because it just works. Let me go back. I discovered it on Reddit. Okay, I made a mistake. Actually, I made a mistake. I did something wrong. I didn't realize it, but it was complicated. Because I technically didn't do anything wrong, but I didn't do anything right either. And it was something bad, but it's weird. We'll get to it. So let me actually scroll down and actually find the build. When did I... Oh, here it is. There we go. So, I went from 256 upvotes on Minecraft builds on Reddit. Now, you may not know what Reddit is, but it's, you can upvote things. It's basically a thumbs up, and there's also a thumbs down. So I have 256 upvotes. Now, on that one, I went from 256, I did another test post, and this is the image that people see. And it's 4,700 upvotes on this one, even though the image is worse. The image is worse on this one. It doesn't look better, right? Technically, it's a cool build. It's very diagonal, like what we were talking about. But the difference is massive. Now, I posted it on Minecraft because it's harder to get upvotes on Minecraft. Now, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm going to look at this build, I'm going to click on it, and hopefully not spoil anything. So this is the build. It's a very pretty build. I built this on Java, and I reused an old build. So this right here, I did not build it on the day I built this build. I made this entire build in 3 hours. I called it my lazy build. And the reason why is because I used this build, I reused it. I had this build left over from a previous build that I had done. I took this build and I cut it into pieces and I copied and pasted it across this entire build. So I was able to build this massive build, huge, one of the biggest builds I had ever done in 3 hours, using a couple really cool world edit techniques on Java, including things like revolve. And I was able to save a ton of time doing it this way. And every single step of the way, because I have a problem, I overbuild. I will spend hours and days building, and I will take way too long. So I call this my lazy build. Does that sound reasonable so far? Like, so far, yeah. Okay, makes sense. You called it lazy to remind yourself that, like, this is a lazy build. You need to not go too hard and waste a bunch of time. Just do it in 3 hours. Um, oh, an ad. Okay. Oh, wait a second. I forgot I turned ads on. I almost feel like turning them off because I hate ads personally, but I don't mind them too bad if it's just a few. Okay, good. Welcome back to TNTV. So, um, anyway, I called this my lazy build because, like I said, I wanted to remind myself to be as quick as possible and build it in like as quickly as possible. It was also going to be for a time lapse. The time lapse broke though, so that's unfortunate. It was too big. It was way too big. I used some crazy world edit commands. Took only 3 hours. Makes sense. I don't think it's unfair to call this a lazy build. And that's the question. Is it unfair to call this a lazy build? From my definition, of course, I don't think so. It's still a cool looking build. I built it in 3 hours though. I purposefully did it as fast as possible. I did it doing the least amount of work as possible. I reused an old build from like 6 months ago. This was quick. Now, how does this relate to YouTube? Don't worry, we're going to get to that in just a minute and how this relates to everything you ever post online. This is the most important lesson I ever learned in posting things online. I posted this online, and this was my mistake. This title was the stupidest thing I had ever posted, and I've posted this kind of title multiple times. A lazy build I did for YouTube a while back, but it was too big, too time lapse. My render distance couldn't handle it. All 100% true. There is not a lie, there is not a hint of anything unfactual here. This is all 100% factual. It is a lazy build I built fast on purpose. I built this as quickly as possible on purpose to do as the least amount of work. I reused builds. Like I said, it's what I called my lazy build. That's what I called it to myself. I did for YouTube, of course, and it was too big for my render distance. Couldn't handle it. Because I did that because, well, when people go check out my YouTube, they're not going to see the build. Why? It was too big. So I wanted to explain myself. This was stupid. All of this was stupid, okay? This was all stupid. Completely. This was absolutely terrible. Okay, I'll hurry up. I'll hurry up with the story. Everyone. Lazy build, that's mad. He's humble bragging. Humble bragging, humble bragging, humble bragging. Everyone's ticked at me because they say that I'm humble bragging. Why? I never told a lie in this statement. The simple truth of the matter is, I didn't think about who was going to see the build. When you post something online, when you post a video online, it doesn't matter what you think about your build. When you post that, there's going to be a 5-year-old that sees your build or sees your YouTube video, and they're going to think you're the best builder ever. They're going to love your build. And what are they going to think when you call your own build lazy? Right, yeah, if they had the whole story, they might think it's fine. They might not feel bad about it. But people felt personally attacked because I called my build lazy. So when you down your own build, when you say your builds are lazy, when you say your builds are bad or whatever, that's not good. That's hurting other people. It does. It makes other people think that they're not good because you don't like your own build. So instead, this is my next title. The most insane build I have ever built. Made it for a competition, only had a few weeks. Still the truth. Still the truth. But now I called it an insane build. 4,000 upvotes. Because they agreed with me. That's what's important. This was clickbait. This is what many people think is clickbait. It's not clickbait. This is telling the truth and telling the truth to your audience. And who is it? That could be a 5-year-old. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll post to Discord. So be careful what you're posting. You don't want to accidentally post something and hurt, like there could be a 10-year-old that's looking at your stuff and be extremely. Oh, 1 second. I gotta find the post. That could be extremely demotivated because of what you say. So clickbait is important um, because it's talking to your audience. I don't know how to use this very well. There it is. Okay. Okay, let's get the. What the heck? No. Oh, it's because I'm in it's on one of my YouTube videos. Let me get it. It's because I'm streaming. It doesn't let me see my stuff because I'm in streamer mode. Let me get it. Is there a way to turn streamer mode off? Do you guys know? Um, oops, wrong button. You don't know? Okay. Oh, there it is. Disable. There we go. Now we can actually click it. Server settings. Okay, I found it. There we go. So this is the invites, and I'll post it in chat. There we go. So that's the invite link. But yeah, that was the most important thing I ever learned when posting. That clickbait is not about trying to entice people. It's not trying about baiting people. It's not really baiting people. Like if you do it correctly, and you're not doing debate people, and you're doing it to tell the truth and to help someone who is your target audience. And if your target audience is old, then I mean, or young, then you have to be careful. Oh yeah, you go to the bottom and you can click on Add Server, and you can join a server, and you can put the invite. Um, what? 1 second. The invite link is also the code, so it's right here. It's that part. Do you see that? So I did slash. It's that part. So it's the Discord invite link. Oh, there we go. This also works. Yeah, you can just paste it in like that into. Yeah, that would work. Yeah. Yeah, that worked. Yep. There you go. Have a good night, TNT Evie. You said you had to go. Have a great day. Autocorrect. Yep. There you go. But yeah, untoasted breadcrumbs. Um, hopefully that answers your question as well about YouTube. That's basically all of like, if you check out Veritasium's video, he says basically the exact same thing. Because when you make a title, it's not about deceiving someone. It's about telling it to someone in a way that helps them understand better. And when you post a build and you're showcasing a build, don't say a build I made yesterday. Say super awesome build, because to that 10-year-old that you're talking to a 10-year-old. You have to realize that there's people who are watching your video that are going to love what you're doing. You should love it. You should at least act like you love it too, so you can relate to your own viewer. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's like, if you check out the best clickbait on YouTube, it's almost always that kind of clickbait. And one reason why is because it's the truth. It's still the truth, and you don't lie to your audience. Because whenever you tell your audience something, you better give it to them. It's like a promise. So like in this for the time lapse, not time lapse, for the live stream, I said I'm building a castle. Now I didn't really clickbait the title of this thing, but it's important to make sure that it's accurate, like what you're stating, because people do not like feeling scammed. So if you make your thumbnail inaccurate, thumbnail or title inaccurate, they feel scammed and they're going to be a little bit irritated. Um, but yeah, I'm actually not sure what Dream's clickbait is like. I haven't watched his videos. You are welcome. But actually, let me double check. I'm still on full screen mode, actually. I want to see if Veritasium has his clickbait video. I came up with there we go. Clickbait is unreasonably effective. He also hates clickbait. Me and him both hate it. And he basically says that in this video and pretty much explains exactly what I said earlier. Don't deceive your audience. Just tell them the truth. Just don't make it boring. Like, even if you know it's boring, don't make it sound boring. It doesn't have to sound boring. Um, but it's a pretty interesting one. Actually, I'll post a link. It's pretty cool. I'll just post it.
Can I tell you?
It's 20-minute long video. Goodness gracious. I feel bad for making 20-minute long videos and he just does it off the cuff. Okay, whatever. See how it is. I need to start making longer videos. Doing a live stream and complaining about not making long videos. Maybe I should shut up. I'm making a really long video right now. Technically not a video. Sorry for anyone who joined in the middle of that long explanation to something. I enjoy having a little bit of rants with you guys, so hopefully that made sense. If anyone does get confused, or if anyone is confused, don't be afraid to ask any question. I really do not care about answering questions. I enjoy answering questions. It's a lot of fun having a conversation with people. Oh well, a bunch of people in here now. Welcome everybody. Oh goodness, got a bunch of notifications. Oh, I gotta switch to I gotta switch to game capture before I leak people's messages. There we go. Okay, 1 second, guys. Give me a second. You've infiltrated the Discord server. There we go. Let's see. There we go. A bunch of people in here. Let's waving. I don't know if. Oh, I don't even know what I just did. I clicked wave a couple two times. Um. There we go. Okay. Back to what I was doing. Y'all are going mad in the Discord server. There we go. Let's actually figure out what I'm doing with this build here. Um, there we go. The lovely thing about a live stream is you can give the exact same advice over and over again, and it never gets old because it's always different people. Like you get to reuse the same advice over and over. That is actually sort of enjoyable though, a little bit. Don't know what I'm going to do with that wall just yet. I have to delete it. I already said this earlier, but this wall is way really really small. Not super used to it. Um, I definitely need to get a second view of everything. Um, I could actually do that, maybe. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, it's so sad. I did do that recently. I got a second view. I got a second account, and I was able to get like a second view for recording. But I don't know how to do that with live streaming because that would be two separate computers. It's really obnoxious. I wish this game was a little bit better for recording. Bedrock doesn't have a lot of stuff for helping, like, record. I don't know. I wish it was a little bit easier to record stuff. Let's see if we can get a better color going. Um, it's deep slate, uh, bricks, replace, stone, brick. We'll just do this for right now. I wasn't expecting to do a dark colored castle, and like I said earlier, I've already done a dark colored castle recently. I think it'd be more fun to do like a white castle or something, but this is what I'm building now, so oh well. Like I said earlier, it's definitely nerve-wracking. I want to make sure I actually build something decent on this world, but it's a little too late now, I guess. That sounds terrible. It's like the exact opposite. I should be like, yo, guys, I'm building the craziest castle in the world. Check it out. Jaracraft meeting me tomorrow. I'm just like, nah, I'm gonna tell the truth. I don't like this build. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'll check out the build in the Discord server. Um, yeah, building chat. Let's see. Oh, I do like it. Looks good so far. Let me think. Actually, one sec. Let me switch the chat. Everyone gets to see it. Sorry, we're leaking your build. Untoasted breadcrumbs. Now you can actually see what I'm talking about, though, at least. So, for one, there's not like a ton that you can do here. These kinds of builds are quite rough when it comes to building. Or realistically, no matter what, it's sort of rough, to be honest. But what I mean is with a straight on build like this that's completely straight, there's more detail that you tend to add. And the reason why is you can fit it in. That's one reason why, in some cases, diagonal castles can actually be easier. With a diagonal castle, you're not expected to add detail because there's no place for detail. And also, the diagonal nature of it, or the round or the organic nature of a build, can also add detail because organic means ever changing. So, because something is ever changing, it makes it more interesting to look at. So, that's one reason why if you look up castles online and you look up diagonal ones or organic looking ones, they tend to have way less detail than castles that are straightforward like this one. Now, why do I say that? Because with something like this, you're focusing on, like, there's a lot more detail and there's a lot more emphasis on the detail. So when you do make a mistake on the detailing, it's a little bit more obvious compared to, um, yeah, it's a little bit more obvious. What I would say, to be a bit more, that's more philosophical, to be fair. And it's a little bit confusing, what I just said. If it's not confusing, that's good. If it is confusing, don't worry about it. Because if it is confusing, then you shouldn't worry about it, honestly. Before this, it will look good when you're done. I will say that. It will look perfectly fine and it will look good. Now, it's rough. There's two directions that you could go with this kind of build. There's two directions you could go. Let me actually see if I could find the build real quick on my Twitter. Now, this is an extreme example that I'm about to find. Craftological. There we go. So I know of a couple very extreme. What the heck is wrong with this? This is the complete. This is the wrong account. How'd that happen? Goodness gracious. There it is. Anyway, so this guy has a build listed way down here somewhere from like multiple years ago. Give me a second. Um, that's close. Am I even on the right account? I'm probably going down a rabbit trail and don't even know it. There we go. So this is what I mean, is a build like this. Now, this is an extreme example. Don't get me wrong, this is very hard to do. But what I mean about this is it's very ornate and very detailed. So there's this direction that is possible, which is making it more ornate and more detailed. The second direction that you could go with it is making it less detailed and more and focusing on shapes more. There's sort of like a balance that you could choose. You could focus on the overall construction of all the buildings and the town and like the layout of everything, which is like very big details. Or you could focus on the smaller details and focus on the build and the build looking really good and the pillars and the structures. Now, for this one, it's hard to go so far because the structure of it technically is fine. But this shape here is really hard to detail because this shape is effectively just a square, but at the same time, it's a pyramid, right? Like, in a lot of ways, this could look. It's sort of hard because there's not a lot that you can do with the shape because it's just basically a fancy square, which makes it tough. So if you're going to do this shape, it's tough because you basically have to find some way of detailing this shape where it looks good, even though it's effectively a glorified square, which is possible. You can detail a square and make it look good. Um, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So with this, like I say, it's a fancy square because when you look at it from straight forward, it's a square, but the top of it is very slightly indented forward. And the reason I say that is silhouette, and that's how things are identified. And I say that because of some art theory that I've done. So um, I'll just tell you this real quick. This is a really interesting sort of thing with silhouettes. So when we look at the silhouette of, let me see if I can find an example. I know at least one person does this. Goodness gracious, I looked this up at one point. It worked. There we go. So in this case, which it's not zooming in all the way. Let me just get out of here. But for a lot of these characters that are silhouetted, which these are not the ones I'm thinking of. Goodness gracious. Actually, this is a great example. This is one of Mary Poppins. And it's very weird. But one second. There we go. That this is Mary Poppins. And you can recognize that. This is just a black and white image. This is pretty impressive that you can recognize Mary Poppins from literally a black and white image. And there's a lot of characters like that because you can make characters extremely defined and you can recognize stuff like that. So even the Eiffel Tower silhouette. The Eiffel Tower is another great example of a structure that has a very unique silhouette and it's extremely recognizable. Literally just from its silhouette alone. You don't need anything else to recognize the Eiffel Tower. That's pretty doggone impressive and extremely useful. So that's why I say it's like a fancy square, is because when you look at the silhouette of it, um, it doesn't have a unique silhouette compared to, well, a super unique silhouette compared to a square. As far as I can tell, it's sort of hard to see though, to be fair. Um, But that doesn't necessarily matter. There's other ways around it, around making the build look good. And it's not a bad shape, by the way. I'm just saying that's why I say it's like a fancy square. And it is sort of like a pyramid. And it is more than fancy square. So I do think you should keep it because it is good practice either way. Because you do need to know how to build something that looks good that is just sort of a pyramid. It's relatively on the simpler side. But after this, I'll have to go actually. I just realized I'm running a little bit late for something. But anyway, with the detailing, it's rough. Detailing's hard. What I would recommend doing is this is always my advice. And I should have just started with this actually. Find something or someone or a build you want to build like and take inspiration from other people's builds. Because it's really hard to get very specific with this kind of stuff. Like change this block, do this, do that. Because you can get most of that advice just by looking at a build. Look at my voice. For one, I'd probably change to be. I'll try to give more specific ones, but again, reference extremely helpful. If you can, just get some good reference. Reference, 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 reference. Very, very important. The only thing I would probably change right now that I can actually tell is the roof. I'd probably change the roof color because I'm not entirely too sure about brown. I don't know. Depending on how you do your other builds, brown is fine. If you do your city in brown, the brown on the roof is fine because it looks like a bark roof and it would actually be fine. But on its own, I would change the color. But that depends, like I said, on the rest of the scene. If you plan on doing brown roofs throughout the rest of your city, the brown roof on the castle is fine. The detailing on the castle's awkward. I don't know what else to say on that part. So how do I put this? How do I put this? Let me see what I find. So some parts are like quite big. You see like right here, this is quite large, but it doesn't jut out very far. So like in terms of depth, it doesn't go very far out. But then you also have like 2x2 pillars. But then there's other sections that are 1x1s, less than 1x1. So like on some sections you have this here, and that's like super thin. But then other sections you have 2x2 pillars, and then even stuff like this here. And the reason I say this is a little awkward is because this is like super thin, and this is super thick. And it's fine to have like thin and thick things. They have like a change in size, but it seems a little awkward. Oh yeah, you did say this was your first. Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember now. Okay, that's super common actually with your first build. I bet you I could show you another build that's almost identical to that. I actually know where it's at. Not identical. Um, but it's very common for people who are just starting to learn how to build larger structures to accidentally um, have the scale of their blocks be a little bit awkward, or scale their details be a little bit awkward. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it's hard for you to know that. I don't. So yeah, you're doing great considering it's your first larger build because it's almost everyone makes that mistake, by the way. That's extremely common with like detailing being super awkward and like the placement of the details are sort of awkward and the size and the scaling of the details. Super common because when you first start, like most people start building medieval. And when you build medieval, it's all everything super detailed everywhere. But when you start building bigger and bigger stuff, you'll notice that it becomes in some cases less and less detailed. So this guy right here is a expert builder. Let me actually move this out of the way. And called Always Decent. Very, very good. But his stuff here is extremely plain. He did it on purpose. He knows how to detail to an like a ridiculous degree, but every detail for him is purposeful. He knows where every block is supposed to go, which is very different compared to like a lot of people when they build. Like this one here is an example where they detailed this here just because they don't know what else to do. Like the texturing. The texturing is just because they didn't know what else to do there. Let me actually see if I can find the build though. There was it's around this city somewhere. Someone was building a Baroque-ish styled thing. I think over here. And it had that same awkward detailing as that because it was his first large build. Yes, here it is. Here it is. I'm sorry if whoever built this is watching. He might be. I have no idea. But this is an example where the roof is super awkward in proportion to this. Like this detailing is like pretty good, but then he has some other stuff that's like, which actually in this case he's not even building big enough. There's some things that need to be bigger. But the roof is like awkward with this here, and he's not confident with his details. So all of his details are too small, because he's used to building smaller builds, and he doesn't know how to build like larger detailed things. Um, what I will say, which is a bit more, I keep saying that, but that's common as you can see here. But something else you can do, because this is your first build, if you want to get some of the jitters out of the way and some of the ideas flowing, something else that you can do is I've done this many times, and you'll see this a lot, including in this plot world. I'm sure it's everywhere. I just don't know where it's at. What you can do is build pillars and build windows. So rather than like building an entire building and not knowing how to build a big pillar, something you can do is build like I'm going to build a 1x1 pillar. I'm going to build a 2x2 pillar. I'm going to build a 4x4 pillar. I'm going to build a 3x3 pillar. I'm going to build a ridiculously huge pillar like this big, right? Which that's an over exaggeration. But you can do any size pillar or any size window, any size roof. So if you don't know how to build roofs, practice building roofs of different sizes and different shapes. You don't have to build a house to build a roof. You can build a roof and put the roof on the house, or figure out how to attach the roof to the house. That kind of thing. Hopefully that helps. I will go on for forever about this stuff. I'm sorry. Um, but anyway, I do need to. I'm not clicking that until I get my thing set correctly again. There you go. I will go on forever. I love giving building advice. Building is so much fun. But anyway, I do need to go. It's getting late for me, and I have a message I'm supposed to read. I'll have to finish this castle later at some point. Anyway, hope you have a great day. Hope everyone has a great day and a great night. Hope you guys get good rest or whatever time of day it is for you guys. Have a great, wonderful, sublime day, and God bless. And I will be heading off. Anyone have anything to say before I click the stop streaming button? I'll give you guys a chance. Thank you, Untoasted Breadcrumbs. Anyone else? No? Okay. Bye-bye.